May 20th, 2020, regular Cottage Grove City Council meeting to order. The first order of business, of course, as normal, would be the Pledge of Allegiance. So obviously you don't have to stand, but we are going to do the pledge. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
All right. Next on our agenda then is roll call. So Joe, do you want to do the roll?
Councilmember Mills?
Here.
Councilmember Dennis?
Here.
Councilmember Thiede?
Here.
Councilmember Olson?
Here.
Mayor Bailey?
Here. Next on our agenda is open forum. This is the opportunity for any resident that wishes to comment on anything that's not on tonight's agenda. Normally we do this in person, but because we're doing this as over the web, there is an opportunity for somebody to send in a message on chat or raise a hand or whatever. I don't see anybody on our list, meaning the people that are active on there, except for Mr. Newman, which I see. But is there anybody out there that would like to speak on open forum? Okay, I'll go ahead and close open forum, and we'll move to number 5, which is adoption of the agenda.
Move the agenda.
I'll go with Councilmember Thiede did the motion, and second by I think Councilmember Mills. All right, Joe, do you want to do the roll?
Councilmember Mills?
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis?
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede?
Aye.
Councilmember Olson?
Aye.
Mayor Bailey?
Aye. Next on our agenda is presentations number 6, and we do have one as normal. This unfortunate normal, I guess, but is the COVID-19 situational update. And we have Gwen Martin and Zach Doctor that will be walking us through this. So welcome to both of you. You can go ahead and get us started.
Thank you, Mayor Bailey and council members. So we have our numbers. Put them up on the screen there for you. I want to point out that although our positive cases do increase and our number of completed tests is also going up, the overall percent positive is remaining relatively stable, which is encouraging. The last time I gave you an update, I was indicating that there was a continuous but slight uphill trajectory. And I'm very happy that we seem to be in this plateau phase, if you will. So as we prepare to reopen city buildings and reintegrate employees into the workplace, the emergency management team is identifying the conditions and steps that we will take and what our new normal will look like. We continue to rely on recommendations and guidance from the CDC, Minnesota Department of Health, our local Washington County public health officials, and of course from Governor Walz. And although we are eagerly anticipating our ability to push forward with recovery and turn those dials, the reality is that people are still struggling with the effects of COVID-19 in our community. So last Thursday, employees and volunteers from Washington County coordinated with the city of Cottage Grove to hold a large-scale food distribution event at Altman Middle School, sponsored by Washington County, Second Harvest Heartland, Christian Covered Emergency Food Shelf, Sawashco Cares, and Independent School District 833. The event addressed food security needs during this pandemic. County staff set up a packaging area, packaged over 37,000 pounds of fresh produce and donated bakery goods, and successfully distributed food to approximately 1,100 households. This was done between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. All were welcome. There were no eligibility requirements to receive a variety of fresh produce. So again, the appropriate precautions in this day and age includes assuming that everyone you meet may be a carrier of COVID-19. So we need to continue practicing good hygiene. We need to continue practicing social distancing, wearing a cloth face covering in settings. We must continue to avoid prolonged exposure, which means having less than 6 feet of separation next to someone for greater than 5 minutes. We need to stay informed, monitoring trusted sources of information, and most importantly, we need to take care of ourselves and our families. These are very stressful times. So we are transitioning from the Stay Home Minnesota to Stay Safe Minnesota. There are a lot of things that are going to start looking different in the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure we will be talking about those. Before I hand it over to Zach Doctor, does council have any questions that perhaps I can answer?
Council, any questions for Gwen at this point? Councilmember Olson.
Thank you. Gwen, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Every time you give us an update, you're very diligent about, reminding people of the steps necessary to sort of mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 virus. And I really appreciate that. We're doing a lot of things as a city and as a state and as a country to try to lessen the negative impact or the unpleasantness of this disease. And I know you're on a lot of conference calls with, subject matter experts, whether that's Department of Health, epidemiologists, whatever. I'm wondering if you can just talk a little bit about the numbers in a deeper fashion, because, all the things that we're reading and that we're seeing is that the mitigation efforts that have been in place now for, in some cases, maybe, a couple of months, they're actually working. And the numbers are reflective of that. But as you know, there are folks who are getting pretty antsy and perhaps are struggling to understand that one of the reasons that the numbers are trending a little flatter is because the activities that we have engaged in, whether it's social distancing, washing hands, more testing, staying at home, those sorts of things, they're actually doing what they were supposed to do. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about that. And then has there been any insight from those subject matter experts about what the future could look like as we turn those proverbial dials and open things up a little more? Should people make bad decisions or choose not to continue to be vigilant?
Thank you, Councilmember Olson. And yes, you are very correct. The measures that have been put in place, the social distancing, the stay-at-home orders, have all successfully flattened that curve, as you said. It was very, very important to follow these recommendations so we did not overwhelm our healthcare system. We cannot avoid the storm of COVID-19. It's here, it's coming, but we can lessen the effects and stretch it out. If people were to all of a sudden just say, flip the switch and say, okay, great, let's go back to normal, and I use that in kind of a quotations there. The reality is the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 will continue to spread and will do so exponentially. Right now, the best way to take care of not spreading the virus is to follow these recommendations. You need to stay 6 feet away from people who are not in your household. You need to wear the cloth face mask in public settings. You need to wash your hands frequently. I can't reiterate that enough. And if we all of a sudden jump into movie theaters and baseball games where we're sitting next to people for extended periods of time, the coronavirus is going to spread, and it's going to, the numbers are going to jump through the roof, and we're going to see an incredible spike, and we will have to turn those dials back down again. And so, yes, people must be cautioned to continue following Governor Walz's advice and stay home when you can, telework if you can. That is still the guidance as we move into this next phase. And doing these measures will slow the spread of the coronavirus and buy us some more time. There are studies continuously being done about developing treatments and treatment regimens and vaccines, and it's going to take time for that to happen. So that's why we still must be very vigilant and take these precautions so the coronavirus doesn't cause this exponential increase in cases.
Thank you. And, like anything else in the world, I know that there's a number of folks who are trying to turn some of the decisions that have been made, whether it's at the local level, the state level, the federal level, into, more of a political discussion. And, really, this is a public health discussion. The virus isn't political. It's 100% public health. And I saw Governor Walz today talking about, turning those dials. And one of the things that people are challenged by is the fact that church services aren't going to be, immediately reinstated as quote unquote normal. But I think, again, we have to allow ourselves to follow the science and understand that when you're in church and you're sitting next to somebody for an extended period of time, your viral load and your exposure can be much greater in that sort of circumstance than if you're, say, passing by somebody at Menards or Walmart. So, again, I know you're on the phone and you're meeting with people who are subject matter experts, people who are really following the science. And if you could just take one more minute and just sort of stress, what have you learned from those people who are actually, fully immersed in the science, as opposed to, the quote unquote Facebook scientist who maybe Googled a couple things and then decides that, this doesn't apply to them.
Thank you, Councilmember Olson. Again, we must continue to avoid prolonged exposure, which means having less feet of separation from someone for greater than 5 minutes. We cannot stress that enough. The use of a face mask or a cloth face covering in public settings is not a substitute for social distancing as well. They need to be used together. We have to protect ourselves if we are potentially carrying the virus, and they are concerned about this asymptomatic transmission, where people who could potentially be contagious for 1 to 3 days before the onset of symptoms. And we don't know exactly when the contagious period starts, but that is why the use of cloth face coverings is encouraged whenever you cannot maintain that 6 feet of separation. And you need to do it together. You are correct that if you are sitting next to a pew in someone with a face covering, that doesn't mean you're not going to spread the virus to them. The virus can still be on your person, and you handing a hymnal to them or passing the offering plate. Things can still be transferred that way. So it is very important to listen to the experts, the public health experts that deal with how this virus is being transmitted, and monitor the continuing developments, because we are still learning new things about this virus.
Thank you so much.
All right, I think Councilmember Thede, you had a question?
Yes, I did. So I think it was a couple weeks ago that we got notification that we had a couple of cases at one of our adult care facilities, and I was wondering what the status of that was, and have we seen any more at those facilities, or are we doing pretty good?
Thank you, Councilmember Thede. I have no direct knowledge of the exact number of cases right now. Yes, it is correct that if you look on the MDH website that talks about congregate care facilities in Washington County, that Norris Square does show up on there. So yes, there have been confirmed cases at Norris Square. I know I'm in constant contact with their campus administrator, and we have, before this, any of the positive cases even came about, we distributed hundreds of cloth face masks to them for their employees and their residents. And we have linked them up with resources that they need for staffing and for other related N95 mask needs or fit testing needs. And so I have actually not heard from him in several days, which is a good thing that he's not reaching out asking for more assistance. So as far as I am aware, things are, as under control as they could be right now.
Great, thanks.
Councilmember Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention real quick, and this will be an interesting thing for those that would like to tune in. Pat Kessler is doing a reality check tonight on WCCO TV on the 10 o'clock news. And he's going to delve into some of the results that have appeared from some of the states that have opened things up. I think Georgia in particular was one that decided to pull the curtains back and just go for it. So not making a statement either for or against, but just I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of his research and his reporting on that, because usually the reality check series that he does is pretty good. So for anyone that's interested, that'll be on 10 o'clock tonight on the WCCO News.
Sounds good. Thank you, Councilmember Dennis. I do have something, but I think what I'll do is I'm going to let Zach, since no one had any other questions for Gwen, Zach, you had something you wanted to add?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Happy to present a community blood drive we'll be doing here in June. So Parks and Recreation staff, we're happy to present that blood drive at the ice arena to hopefully help in the Red Cross's great need for building its blood supply. That event will be June 9th. It's a Tuesday, and that'll go from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are holding at the ice arena, as I mentioned before. We love that site, and Red Cross loves that site because it's a large site. We have 17,000 square feet on the rink floor, so we have plenty of room to spread people out and take a lot of donors. So we'll have lots of Red Cross workers there, and we're also going to have a lot of volunteers so we can make sure that we keep people spread out, take temperatures both when they come in the door, and then obviously they go through the pre-screen before they donate blood too. So lots of health and safety measures in place. Our goal is to have 100 plus donors. So that's a big number. And we're also encouraging employees to participate as well. We're hoping to get at least 30 employees to participate. You can sign up at redcrossblood.org, redcrossblood.org, and then just type in the keyword of City of Cottage Grove. A little added incentive is we are going to be donating stainless steel 20-ounce tumblers with the city logo. And then with that, they're also going to get a coffee card for one free coffee or hot chocolate for the rest of the year at the Cottage Grove Ice Arena. So we are going to be sending that out to the hockey and skating community, hopefully getting our families that are involved in those activities on board. And I think we'll have success there. Even further, if they don't visit the Ice Arena frequently, we're going to give out $15 River Oaks gift cards that they can use for any purchase at River Oaks. So in exchange for their blood, they'll get a $15 gift card, which I think will be a great feature. We'll reach out to those customers as well. We have a great following there. Both facilities do a great job with their customers and have great connections there. So we think we'll be with that support from our golf customers. That'll be great to help them as they give blood. But then we also think it might drive some new customers as well that maybe haven't tried it before. So a couple different giveaways we're doing, hopefully encouraging people to donate blood. And I think it's going to be a great event. We're really looking forward to it. And we do have the Public Safety Board that's going to be contributing some volunteer hours as well. So looking forward to it and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Councilmember Olson.
Thank you. Hey, Zach, just for whatever it's worth, our Lions Club in Cottage Grove here is also planning a blood drive. And I gave them your information last night on our meeting to discuss whether or not the ice arena might be an appropriate location for us to do that. But they would love to partner in any way, shape, or form. I should say we would love to partner in any way, shape, or form with you on this current blood drive to try to increase participation. So if that's something you want to talk about offline later, then I would love to do that with you. And then, Mayor, I had just a general comment for the staff, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So I know that we're getting our COVID-19 update, and we talked a little bit about what the governor came out with today. And I know everybody is keenly aware that, the restaurant and bar industry has really been struggling the last few months, and rightly so. as we proceed with following the governor's orders around, loosening some of the stay-at-home restrictions, bars and restaurants are going to have the ability to do some things with respect to outdoor seating, et cetera. And so I know that staff is probably processing all of it just like the rest of us are, but I would like to encourage the staff and the other members of the council to give some thought to what we can do to really offer support to those bar and restaurant owners. And even if that means that we need to loosen some of our code restrictions or create some different rules of engagement for them during the COVID-19 pandemic so that they can try to flourish as much as possible. The folks who run those bars and restaurants, particularly the locally owned bars and restaurants, they're very creative people, and they're business owners and entrepreneurial spirits and people who, come up with lots of great ideas. And so I would like us, as we've done with the EDA grant program that we came up with and some of the other things that have been put in place to try to help businesses be successful, I would like to think that we could do that with these folks, whether that's providing picnic tables that we might own as a city for temporary outdoor seating, or offering to put up barriers, being less restrictive with regard to, if folks want to have a drink outside, can they use a plastic cup, and do we need to have the snow fence up? Don't we? Just sort of general thoughts around ways that we can be what we always try to be, which is very business friendly, very open to the needs of our businesses, and in any way, shape, or form accommodating to their needs, even if that means we need to adjust some regulations or city code. And I guess I'll kind of let Jennifer talk about that if she's got any thoughts on it, and anybody else on the council.
Well, I guess what I'll do, if you're fine, Jennifer, is I've got some of the, if you will, the talking points that I can share in a minute. But I do know that Councilmember Mills, you had something you wanted to add, and then we'll jump back to that.
Thanks, Mayor. I just was going to say to Zach and his team, great job on pulling that together and putting that, and it sounds great, and a great way to kind of maybe get people back into the ice arena and down to River Oaks. So thank you, Zach, for that, and I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Perfect. So the other thing I was just going to share is kind of alluding to what Councilmember Olson mentioned. Obviously, we did get a update from the governor earlier today, and as the update came out with some of the changes or the recommendations he's making for local restaurants of all types, frankly, staff is already jumping on the process to get things moving in the right direction. So what I'm going to ask from the council at this point, and then I'll see if Jennifer has anything she wants to add. For council, what we're going to do is our EDA staff is going to reach out to all of our local restaurants, whether they serve liquor or not. And yes, there are very specific ordinances, not specific even so much for us as a city, though there are some, but it's also state driven. And I am asking for the council, we will call a special meeting of the council for next Thursday, May 28th at 9:30 a.m. for a short meeting. That meeting will be to approve the changes to allow these various restaurants to serve outdoors, including those restaurants that do not have current outdoor capabilities. So what staff's going to do is staff's going to reach out to all of those particular restaurants in town and share with them some of the options and have them put their plans together, which obviously the governor has all the pieces to that with social distancing. And staff then will draft a temporary outdoor dining form that they can complete, and they'll submit those, and then we'll do a formal resolution to allow the liquor establishments, as you were talking about, Councilmember Olson, but also, we have these other restaurants in town that don't necessarily serve liquor. Chipotle, I don't know if Noodles still serves liquor or not, but McDonald's and all those places that I know have drive-through, but there might be some other options for them also. So Jennifer, did you want to add anything else?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I think it's just important to be business friendly in this current environment. And I know Councilmember Olson challenged us earlier today after the governor spoke to make sure that we could develop a robust plan to be able to address this. And so as the mayor has outlined these steps, I think it would be important for the city attorney just to reiterate and go over just a couple of those brief important steps of why we would need to have that special council meeting to be able to enable these different actions and what those actions would do to support those businesses. So I would turn it over to our city attorney.
All right, Corey.
Thank you, Your Honor, members of the council. So in the last 24 hours, I feel like I've become an expert on these outdoor dining areas because cities really, they knew this was coming and they really want to help out the businesses as much as they can, as fast as they can, and sort of remove all of the red tape that typically allows, or that government accidentally makes people go through when they need permission or approval to do something. So we want people to be able to take advantage of the ability to have outdoor seating, to do it as fast as they can. And under this emergency declaration, you get the opportunity to deviate from your normal regulations, rules, zonings, permits, and approvals, and all of the process that typically bogs things down and getting things moving. So obviously the businesses still have to comply with the governor's order and follow all of his guidelines and the plans. But what we can do on the local level is expedite the process. So the steps would be this. Staff, as you indicated, Mayor, would first of all reach out to the businesses to find out what it is that they need and they're looking for. Then we would prepare performance standards for these restaurants and bars so that they could add an area, as you said, where they may not have one, or expand or modify their existing outdoor seating area. Rules and regulations and performance standards that look something like it has to be on private property. It can be located within your setback. It can be an area you currently have landscaped, can be in your parking lot, as long as it's private property, not in the right of way, has to be so many feet from the right of way, can't impede the right of way, all of those kinds of things. Obviously, it must still comply with ADA requirements, building codes, fire codes. We got to make sure it's safe. But we will put standards in there like you must maintain the area to keep it clean. If you remove landscaping, when this is removed, you have to restore it. Put in hours of operation. Loudspeakers, if they are allowed, or if you have them now, they have to be turned off at a certain time. Maintenance-free tables and chairs. We will have an expiration date. This is temporary, we hope. So we'll put an expiration date around this whole process of being a temporary outdoor seating area, perhaps by the end of the year. Maybe it's November 1st, something in there. No serving, make sure that there is no service that happens outside of the service area. People aren't walking down the street with their beverages. The lighting code still has to comply with lighting. You don't want to impede on the neighbors. And then they have to prepare a specific seating plan and outdoor seating area plan that they can submit to the council or to the city staff. Now, liquor is a little bit different because those are approved liquor licenses, as you know, are approved by the council. And when you approve a liquor license, you actually approve the service area. So when you add an outdoor seating area, you're expanding that service area, which then is an amendment to their liquor license. So the liquor licenses have to come back to you for approval. That one can't be quite as fast, but it would still be, within one of your 2 council meetings a month. The important thing to remember about service of liquor is you can't have a patio that's down the block. It has to be compact and contiguous to the space where you have your on-sale liquor license. So it has to somehow touch the building in which you normally serve. Other than liquor, what we're thinking, if the council is okay with this, is that you would not have to see most of these approvals. If it's just a restaurant that does not serve alcohol, as long as they comply with the performance standards and submit their plans, these could be approved administratively. Liquor license amendments, as I said, would be put on a fast track, submit the plan. As long as they already have a liquor license, it's just, updating the background check, making sure they have insurance, but all of that's already been done. The heavy lifting has been done on that. So it should be able to be move along the process fairly quickly. So if the council agrees that this is a good path that we're on, we would put together these performance standards. We would put together what the liquor piece looks like. and prepare a resolution for the council to be adopted at the special meeting that you can approve and let us put into motion all of these things. We would notify the businesses. As you said, there may be some that don't even know that they're eligible for this. So notify everybody and their brother that they may be eligible for this opportunity, and then get these liquor ones processed as fast as we can on your agenda following the special meeting.
Sounds good. Jennifer, Administrator Levitt, is there anything more you need to add? Being that we're in the emergency declaration period, I don't know that we need a motion, do we, to do it? The meeting is, I'm calling it, so.
No, we're good.
All right.
We just need to make sure we have a quorum for that.
Yes. Yeah, so if there is an issue with the time, and again, it'll be short meeting, just to kind of get through the specifics, to set in motion so our restaurants can open with their plans. That would be great. If there's any issues or concerns by any council member for that time for a short meeting, please reach out to us. But that is the plan, is 9:30. Okay, on that date, 28th. I will just throw out there, I'm assuming Zach and Administrator Levitt, we're going to also put a plan together for River Oaks.
Yes, the River Oak staff is working really aggressively at putting that together and being ready to adapt to those new regulations and changes. I'm sure Zach could speak more to that, but the staff has really been on top of these changes and being able to find ways to serve the public.
Well, we do have a lot of space down there, as you know.
We started working on a plan tonight.
Perfect. Awesome. Council, any other questions? All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Gwen, for providing us the update this week. And we'll keep working on the social distancing piece, washing hands and that, and hopefully we'll continue to push back on the COVID expansion, if you will, and limit its expansion into the future. All right. Next on our agenda is consent, which is number 7. Is there anything council would like to pull on consent? I believe Councilmember Thiede, you wanted to pull G.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other items for council would like to pull on for discussion on consent? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and start with the G, which Councilmember Thiede is pulling, which is the transfer of funding for the EDA Small Business Emergency Assistance Program. Councilmember Thiede.
Thanks, Mayor. I would like to just get a quick update, I assume, from ED Director Christine. Would you be able to give us an update of where we are with this? And I guess part of the question, I know it wasn't getting out there, or it wasn't being responded to as quickly as we thought it might. So I guess my other question would be is, if we don't get 30 businesses that each want $10,000, do we need to move all the money, or what would happen?
Mayor, members of council, to date, we have 9 applications that are in. That is correct. We did have some issues in terms of when I asked other outside groups to participate in terms of sharing the information and getting it out there. They were late in getting that information out. I did, however, send letters to 95 businesses that were on the executive orders 04 and 08. So it went to all the restaurants, coffee, massage, dentist office, workout facilities. So, and some of those that received the letter did apply. So I would appreciate if potentially, if we had a few more trickle in as of Friday, that we would still consider those. And then in terms of the money, I'll leave that up to council to determine that.
Well, I thanks. I guess I'm just curious, if we approve this and transfer all that $350,000 over, I suppose if we don't use it all, we just transfer it back. Is that how that would work?
That would be my assumption. And Finance Director Rowland can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume we could transfer it back.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any other comments or questions by council? All right. Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve
I'll move
consent.
consent.
All right, so
I'll move consent.
I have a motion by Councilmember Thiede. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a second by Councilmember Mills. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Joe, do you want to do the roll?
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis,
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. All right. Next on our agenda is number 8, which is approved disbursement. 8A is to pay the bills. And again, I'll need a motion.
Motion to pay the bills.
All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Mills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Thiede. All right, all those in favor will now go back to roll again. Joe.
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis,
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. Next is 9 on our agenda, which is public hearings. We do not have any this evening. 10 is bid awards. We do have 3 this evening. The first one is the Hamlet Park Expansion Phase 2 bid award. And Ryan Burfine, our Public Works Director, will take us through this one. So Ryan, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Similar to past meetings, we do have 3 bid awards here tonight as we continue our very busy construction season. The first one is Hamlet Park Expansion, Phase 2, which we first took bids back in April. And what we had was a situation where the low bid was non-conforming, had to be rejected, and the second low bid was higher than we felt comfortable with awarding, so we rebid the project. And this work, just for council's information, in Phase 2 is for completing all the ball field work, the trails around it, and then the building. And then we would still have a Phase 3, which would be the parking lots and areas around the parking lots next year. The reason for that, it does take another full season to establish the ball fields and that length of time to open them. Originally, the building was in a Phase 4 in 2022, but at council's direction with the CIP workshop, we did move that up, which is why it's included. One thing that we did see with the bid results in the first go around, as we analyzed them after the bids were rejected, the building, even though it was kind of in the realm of our overall engineer's estimate, it was still more than what we were really looking to spend on that building in terms of the CIP and the funding we really wanted to put towards that. So when we rebid it, we did have the building as an alternate. And when you look at the bid results, the base bid, we did receive 5. The base bid was pretty much in line with that engineer's estimate, just over $1,050,000. And looking at the building, while it was below the estimate prepared by our consultant that did more the plans for the ball fields, it's still a greater amount than what as staff we were looking and hoping to spend on that building. Spent some time working with Zach on that, and what we're proposing is a different route that we would go for the building, to have staff be more the project manager and get specific bids for each division to be more specific and bring that cost down. So the recommendation tonight is to only award that base bid amount, and after this point, staff will go ahead with proceeding on that building, kind of on a different path to bring those costs down even further. It's still something we would do this year as our proposal and have it completed, and then wrap things up and be ready as things open up in 2022. But that is staff's recommendation tonight. But with that, I'd be happy to take any questions the council may have.
Okay. Council, any questions for Ryan? So Ryan, if I saw right, the ball fields and the parking lot will get done under the original bid?
It would just be the ball. It would be the ball fields and the trail and the areas around the ball field. We still propose to do the parking lots next year.
Okay.
Couple reasons. One is the ball fields take that full season next year to be able to be opened. And also a lot of the material to create those parking lots will be coming from some of our other road projects in town. We're going to be reusing some material that we're salvaging and we'll bring to the site to then use next year to build those parking lots and see some cost savings for those parking lots.
Okay, sounds good. All right, seeing no other questions from council, we'll need a motion to approve the bid award.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution awarding the base bid for the Hamlet Park Expansion Phase 2 project to Construction Results Corporation in the total amount of $1,050,546.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Mills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Dennis. Any further discussion? All right, Joe, do you want to do the roll?
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis,
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Councilmember Olson?
Sorry, I had myself muted. Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. All right, motion carries. The next item B is River Acres Residential Well Sealing, project bid award. And again, Ryan Burfine, you're taking us through this one.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So for this project, this is in conjunction with the water main installation and service projects that Council awarded back in April and are now beginning to be under construction. We pulled this portion of the work out because this well sealing project is very unique. We are proposing, and per the grant agreement that we have from the state, to seal all those wells as they connect to city water. It's not something that I can say is a typical type of project, so it was a unique project to design and estimate. Minnesota Department of Health is a big partner in this because they are part of each well sealing and part of that process. So we did separate them because the River Acres project is so large. We felt it was probably going to be a more challenging project to bid. You can see that with the one bid result we had. It's a very unique type of work. There's only so many contractors who are even capable of doing this. And then a project of this size to seal 125 wells. So with River Acres, we did only receive the one bid from Keys Well Drilling. It is over our engineer's estimate. But as I mentioned, it was just very unique work. It's not something that I don't think's ever been bid in a mass way, probably in the metro area. So estimating it was a challenge. We have lots of wells that are actually inside houses, underneath decks, within landscape beds. So a lot of effort went into this, individual site inspections, and this is kind of where we are today and really what we have to work with. It is a requirement of the grant agreement that we do this well sealing, and it is fully funded by the state. So even though this is over the estimate, it's a state funded part of the project, and the state is aware of these bid results and approving of those. So it has no impact on city funds at all. So we are recommending awarding this project to Keys Well Drilling in that base bid amount, and I'll stand for any questions.
All right, council, any questions for Ryan on this one? All right, seeing none, once again, we'll need a motion by council to approve this project.
I move that we adopt a resolution awarding the River Acres Residential Well Sealing Project to Keys Well Drilling Company in an amount of $843,035.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Thiede. Do I have a second?
Mayor, I'll second.
All right, so I got a second by Councilmember Olson. Any further discussion? All right, Joe, do you want to do the roll?
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis,
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. All right, and our last bid award this evening is the Granada Avenue Residential Well Sealing Project bid award. And again, Ryan, you want to take us through this one?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council. So for Granada Avenue, it was bid the same day, last Thursday. We did receive 2 bids for this project, a little smaller in scope. So I think more easily something that another contractor could take on. Once again, our bids were over the engineer's estimate. They were a little more in line on this project with that low bid from Mineral Services, but overall consistent with pricing that we saw for the larger River Acres project. Same situation, fully funded by the state of Minnesota through our grant agreement, and doing this work is a requirement of the state. And I also want to mention real quickly, and I forgot to mention before why these are separate, is given how, I want to say invasive, but how much work and coordination is required with the homeowners, by having these direct contracts with the well sealers, it will allow staff to work much more closely with them and coordinate with the homeowners. So we think it'll give a much better end product as we do this work and restore their properties. With that, we'll recommend awarding this project to Mineral Services Plus, and we'll answer any questions.
All right, just like the last one, council, any questions on this one? All right, once again, we'll look for a motion.
Mayor, I'll move that we adopt a resolution awarding the Granada Avenue Residential Well Sealing Project to Mineral Services Plus LLC in an amount of $227,560.25.
There you go. We have a motion by Councilmember Olson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Thiede. Any further discussion? Joel, if you please do the roll.
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis,
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. All right, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is regular agenda, which we don't have any items this evening, so we're moving right along here. So next is council comments or requests, and I'll do my normal. I'll start with Councilmember Mills.
Thank you, Mayor. I just am going to do a little bit of a shout out to those that are getting ready to graduate from our high schools, and some probably have. Actually, I have seen some have already graduated, and I know that it's, as we've been talking about, very unique time. But I do want to send out a shout out to those that have worked so hard and worked hard to get everything done, and working from home, and the families supporting them and going through this together, and then figuring out what comes next. And it's going to be a lot for them, but I just wanted to say congratulations to the graduates. I have a graduate in my own home, and I know how difficult it's been emotionally, and just as a family trying to figure out how to navigate it. So that's all I had to say, and we just wanted to give my congratulations to all those with graduates.
Sounds good, and congratulations to you and your daughter.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Dennis.
Mayor, I'm actually good tonight, and I'm going to yield my time to the other colleagues.
All right, sounds good. Councilmember Thiede.
Yeah, I guess one thing that I'd like to say is with Memorial Day coming up here on Monday, and to my knowledge, we don't have any virtual activities or memorial things to do, but I would definitely like to, besides our normal veterans and such, also recognize all those people that have fallen to this COVID-19 pandemic, and think about them on Memorial Day this coming Monday also. So.
Yeah, good message there, Councilmember Thiede. I concur 100%. All right. Anything else, Councilmember Thiede?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Councilmember Olson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to my colleague, Councilmember Mills. We also have a senior in our household this year, and so she is absolutely right. It has been like every day, it's a part-time job just keeping up with, how are they going to do graduation ceremonies? Are they going to do graduation ceremonies, et cetera? and it's been very difficult for the kids. So, you know, I appreciate her message. And then, of course, Councilmember Thiede, your message, very, very well spoken, and absolutely have my 100% support. I also wanted to just take a minute to touch base on a couple other things. First of all, as everyone knows, because we actually made proclamations at our last council meeting, this week is EMS week, and it is also Public Works week across the country. So I want to just say thank you to all of our frontline EMS responders who are sort of that first medical intervention that so many folks receive when they are at the most difficult parts of their life, not feeling well, et cetera. And of course, we have a terrific EMS department here in the city of Cottage Grove with our public safety team and our EMS coordinator kind of managing that. We have full-time medic staff. We have a ambulance service with outstanding response times. So we're very lucky here in the city of Cottage Grove to have those amazing professionals in place. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I also wanted to say thank you to the public works professionals out there who have been working so diligently to keep up on things like roadways and other infrastructure. And then, of course, we have our parks team that's trying to get our parks ready to reopen for all of our residents to use. So just acknowledging those two departments during Public Works Week and EMS Week is something that I wanted to do. And then last, I know that our ED director, Christine Costello, talked about the program that is in place for the EDA grants at the behest of Councilmember Thiede. And I was curious if Christine felt like we perhaps needed to extend the deadline on that program an additional week, and if doing that would be A, beneficial, and B, would it be problematic with respect to actually processing any applications in a timely fashion. So I would just like perhaps staff to respond to that now if they're able, or you know, to us via written communication to let us know if that's something that we need to do.
Mayors and members of council, I would greatly appreciate that. I would really like to get the word out there, and was a little disappointed that some of the communication failed. So if it would be possible, I would really appreciate that extension. I would work to make sure those applications then were on the June 9th EDA meeting, and then council on June 17th. And then we could have the funds available the next day. We would work closely with finance if that would be amenable to everybody.
Yeah, Administrator Levitt.
Mayor, members of the council, another option you could consider is the applications that you've received to date. If they are complete and qualify, you could keep them on the expedited schedule so that they could receive their funds no later than June 11th if you felt that that was appropriate, and maybe extend the deadline greater than for like a second round that you could award on the schedule that Director Costello has referenced, if you want to ensure that those businesses that have applied promptly could receive that funding quickly.
Yeah, and I do know, Administrator Levitt and EDA Director Costello, I do know that other cities have done that, where they've done the first round and then a second round. So I would want to, for the ones that currently have them in, because I do know there's some quote unquote vetting that needs to be done in all of this. So it would be important to continue to move them quickly through. But do I have an issue as long as you guys can you know, manage through this and get it through in an expedited manner for anybody else that wants to come in and extend it an additional week? I don't have an issue with that. And we've got that money out there. That's what it's meant for. So I want to make sure that everybody that truly might need it and could use it and qualifies for it gets that option for it. So I'm assuming, I was just going to say,
sorry.
If that's the case, I would assume we need a motion by one of the council members to extend the opportunity for this deadline to go one additional week.
Mayor, can I speak on this one more time?
Yeah, and then Administrator Levitt has something to bring up too. Go ahead.
Oh, let's let Administrator Levitt go first.
Mayor, members of the council, could we potentially choose Friday, May 29th as the extension date? Given the holiday weekend, there may be additional challenges that would give businesses additional time to be able to put their applications together.
So May 29th, so that's the extra week then. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. Councilmember Olson?
Mayor, since this idea really started and has been championed by Councilmember Dennis, I'm just curious if, you know, the idea of an extension is something that he'd be open to, and if it sort of meets with the vision that he had as he presented this idea to us all. I'd like to get his opinion on whether he thinks this is an appropriate decision, if there's a different idea, kind of where he's at with that.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Olson. You know, I mean, the intent here has been to make a difference and help. So if we can give a slight extension here that meets the criteria for the 29th, I absolutely support that. So thank you, and thank you for bringing that up.
Okay. So with that, we will need to make it official, I'll need a motion by one of the council members to extend the deadline to Friday. You said Friday, May 29th.
Mayor, I'll motion that we extend the application period to the 29th. And as per the discussion here, for those that may have already had their materials in, that we're able to fast track them and get them their money sooner, and that we continue the process to the 29th.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Dennis, seconded by Councilmember Olson. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, Joe, do you want to do the roll, please?
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennis,
Aye.
Councilmember Thede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. Okay, there we go. Good. Councilmember Olson, do you have anything else? All right, just a few items real quick for the public and for the council. One is obviously I made a comment about Councilmember Mills when she mentioned her daughter who's graduating this year. Councilmember Olson, you have a son graduating this year, so congratulations to you too. I do know that there is on Friday going to be a parade, I believe, up at Park for the seniors that are going to be kind of highlighting the seniors in Cottage Grove, at least at Park High School. I know each school is kind of doing things different. I know we have students, or I should say citizens in Cottage Grove that go to Eastridge also. So I wanted to, same as Councilmember Mills mentioned, congratulate all of our seniors in this very difficult time. I will mention to the public too that next week at some point, either Tuesday or Wednesday, we're hoping that banners will be going up on our light poles down 80th Street and on Hadley, recognizing our seniors, for all of Cottage Grove seniors that are graduating during this COVID time. It's just a small token of appreciation from the city to share the love and the support of all of those seniors that are graduating under this certain this pandemic. So be on the lookout for those. It's our little token of appreciation, and great job by our city staff putting that together as quickly as they did. And then I also wanted to mention we're still kind of working through all the logistical interesting things as it relates to the 4th of July fireworks. I know our public safety director, Pete Kerner, and Gwen Martin are kind of coordinating, trying to figure out, you know, how do we make this work and continue to do social distancing and such. I did hear earlier today, one of the big 4th of July cities that do festivals, Delano, I believe. Delano is going to cancel all of their events except for the fireworks, and they are coming up with some way of getting people to, you know, be spread out, be in their cars and things like that. So I know our director, Kerner and such, are working on some options there to see if we can do it. I did want to do a special call out. I did get confirmation back from 3M today. They are donating $5,000 to the fireworks. So we have, between the various companies already during this crazy time, that have donated money along with a portion that the city had set aside. We once again have $20,000 for a really nice 4th of July fireworks display. So I'm hoping we can get this done. I know all the businesses are. I know it's a big challenge for our public safety team and the fire department, but I'm sure that they'll figure out something, and hopefully we'll be able to make this happen. So I wanted to mention that. I also, my last item is just a friendly reminder. This is both for our council as well as for the public. At our June 3rd city council meeting, after the meeting is done, we will be having a discussion and conversation regarding the community center referendum, as well as some possible changes to the community center as it was originally presented to us. There's been some great feedback, to be quite honest with you, from the public on some of the things they would prefer to see in addition to the community center. And so staff has done a great job of going back and working numbers and ideas and things like that. So they are going to be presenting to the council and the public, if you will, on the June 3rd meeting of the city council. And so if anybody's interested, if they want to, our expectation, I should mention, is it will not be a Zoom meeting. We will be having our council meeting and the workshop in the training room at City Hall, and there'll be additional options if people want to come and be a witness to it or have questions or comments they want to make. We'll have opportunities for people to do that. But I just wanted to make sure the public knows that and the council that our next meeting will be in person, socially distanced, at City Hall on June 3rd. But again, we do have a workshop on that date to discuss the referendum and what we want to do. Should we have it this year or postpone it based on the current environment? And then, of course, what we're going to do with any additional amenities that we want to discuss as part of the community center. So that was it. Any other council comments or requests? All right, number 13 is the workshop session open to the public. We do not have one this evening. 14 is workshop session closed, which to the public, we don't have one this evening. So we are all the way down to 15, which is adjournment. So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Councilmember Thiede.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Mills. All right, I'm gonna, I almost did it again. Joe, do you want to do the roll?
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Thiede, oh, sorry, Councilmember Dennis, Councilmember Thiede,
Aye.
Councilmember Olson,
Joe, I'm only going to approve if you update that picture.
we'll see what we can do.
Thanks. All right. Aye.
Mayor Bailey.
Aye. All right, everybody, we are adjourned. Everybody have a great evening. Talk to you all soon, and happy Memorial Day. Bye-bye.